What is the relation between salt and blood pressure? Why is too much salt bad? The chemical name of salt is sodium chloride. Sodium in the blood leads to water retention by slowing down the kidney's ability to remove water from the bloodstream. As the water in the blood vessels increases, the pressure also increases. Blood vessels have elastic fibers embedded in their walls, which make them resilient. But consistent high intake of sodium leads to a consistent elevation in the blood pressure. The elasticity is worn off, and now your blood vessels have small microscopic tears. In order for the blood vessels to repair these injuries, the tissue swells up, and the white blood cells accumulate. When this happens, the fats and the cholesterol floating around latch on to the injury site. Over time, these compounds build up, forming thick plaques and stiffening the inner walls of the blood vessels. High blood pressure causes a lot of problems. With the blood flow being restricted, a lesser amount of oxygen and other nutrients are delivered to the organs. It can cause angina or chest pain and even lead to a heart attack. Reduced blood supply to the brain can result in a stroke. Salt is essential to life, and consuming the right amount of salt is important. The Food and Drug Administration recommends limiting salt intake to about 1 teaspoon a day. This is roughly 6 grams of salt and 2.3 grams of sodium. For children below the age of 11, the salt intake should be less than 3/4 of the recommended levels for adults. Most of the salt consumed in a typical diet is usually from processed foods. Foods like bread or breakfast cereal that don't necessarily taste salty do contain a lot of salt. Even in sweets and pastries, salt is added to enhance the taste. You can monitor your salt intake by checking food labels to see the amount of salt present. The changes in blood pressure upon high dietary salt intake vary from person to person. This is because of the differences in salt sensitivity. Salt sensitivity is a measure of how your blood pressure responds to salt intake. Some people are salt resistant, whereas others are salt sensitive. For salt resistant people, the blood pressure levels do not fluctuate much with salt intake. For the salt sensitive, even small amounts of salt can cause changes in the blood pressure. Your genes have an effect on how much blood pressure changes in response to salt intake. Some people have higher salt sensitivity. This is because of changes in certain genes like ACE and SGK1. The ACE gene carries instructions for the production of the angiotensin-converting enzyme. This enzyme is the main player in blood pressure regulation. It influences the sodium and water reabsorption by the kidney. The SGK1 gene carries instructions for the production of serum and glucocorticoid-regulated kinase 1 enzyme. This enzyme regulates sodium excretion by the kidneys. A simple genetic test can help you find out your genetic type for salt sensitivity. Most genetic tests provide your DNA information in the form of a text file called the raw data. This data will look like a bunch of numbers and letters that you won't be able to decode easily. Worry not, Xcode Life can help you with this. All you have to do is upload this file and order a gene nutrition report from Xcode Life. We then analyze your raw data in detail to provide you with comprehensive nutrition analysis, including information on salt sensitivity.